How traumatic is it when you change a member? First of all, Marc, from Vermeer's point of view.
To give you some measurement of it, we always felt that it took us 5 years to come back to the place where we were with a new member. Because the string quartet repertoire is enormous, and you don't play it all in one season. You play it over a 3 or 4 or 5 year period. You may come back to most of the standard repertoire. So not only is there music to learn, but you have to half of what goes on in a quartet rehearsal is learning the music, but the other half is tending the machine, is keeping the machine tuned up. And until you've been playing with each other for months and months, years really, you don't have the kind of instantaneous response to each other that you have when you have a long-standing relationship with all 3 of your colleagues. So it is traumatic. Leaving aside the personal, often when someone leaves a quartet, it leaves unhappiness behind. And so you have to deal with that. But even in the best of circumstances, when someone leaves with plenty of notice and for good reason, and everyone understands it, it still takes a long time to bring the quartet machine back into being.
Mm-hmm. Jerzy,
you're
going through this.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. But something that I always enjoy in a change of the member in a group, in just looking at that positively, is for myself to go through the repertoire once more, and I have to confront all my decisions, because you rework every piece with new member, and the new member always brings something new on every level, and it's been kind of fascinating for me to, after many years of playing the same piece, to go back and rework and justify all my decisions. Mm-hmm. So that's the part that I'm looking forward to when that happens. It's not that
I happened to walk past an open door on the other side of which the Alban Berg Quartet was, the recently retired great Alban Berg Quartet were rehearsing. And I heard, just as I walked past, the following words. They were in German, but I'll give them to you in English. One of the members was saying, "Yeah, but if we do it that way, it means we've been wrong for 25 years." There you go. So imagine a new member trying to fit into that.
What, a different question now, what can an audience do or give you that really makes you perform better or to your full potential at a concert?
Well, it's very hard to say, but there is a quality of focus, of concentration that comes from the audience, or sometimes doesn't come from the audience. There's a certain kind of silence, which isn't the silence of people sleeping. I don't know how to tell you how we get it, because we don't spend time looking out into the audience. It's not one of, playing string quartets is not one of those entertainment professions where you actually address the audience and expect to see eyes respond and smiles and that sort of thing. But we know if you're paying attention, and if you are, that's the right atmosphere for us to play in.
Mm-hmm. Jerzy, anything to add to that as a final word?
Just that there is really often magic in the air. And it's very hard to explain and catch it and verbalize it for me. But there's definitely, when the audience is with us, we can totally feel it.
Yes.
And when it's not.
Yeah. One of the things over 35 years that I played quartets that I found to be a pretty consistent coincidence is that the better the acoustics in hall, the better the audience listened. And you have in this room here a wonderful acoustic and a wonderful atmosphere, and my experience from having been here last year and again this year is that the audience here gets that they actually revel in the sound of the music that's coming off the stage to them because it's such a fine acoustical space.
It's very true.
One last question for you, Marc, which I meant to ask earlier. How difficult was it for you to fold your string quartet, to retire your string quartet, as opposed to reinventing it and bringing in new members and letting them go to it?
Well, the finality of it is undeniable. There's when you bring in a new member, that's one thing you don't have to think about is finality. And we in our quartet agreed when we were going to retire about 5.5 years before the actual time itself. And so we had a long time to do the projects that we wanted to do and to play the repertoire one more time that we wanted to play, and to do a last Beethoven cycle and so forth, and to record a couple of things that we'd wanted to record and so forth and so on. But there comes the day when you get up the next morning and you look around, and we used to call it getting up and going to look at the same three ugly faces. And all of a sudden those three ugly faces are not there. And in my case, I moved from Chicago, where we had lived all of our career, to the state of Maine with my wife. And so I didn't even have them sort of walking the halls of the university anymore, or that sort of thing. I really, sort of completely lost physical contact with my colleagues. And it was... It's not like a divorce, because we ended loving each other, but it's like an amputation. It's just a missing piece. I understand from people who've had a leg amputated that you still get phantom feelings in your foot, and I sort of have these phantom string quartet feelings sometimes. And I get up and it's a few seconds before I realize I'm not going to rehearsal. So.
Goodness, yeah. Well, their loss and your colleagues' loss is our gain, and we're glad that you're here and delighted that you're here for a second time. And Jerzy, you're still alive and well and performing, and you have a concert to give in half an hour, so I'll let you go to that. The website for the Penderecki String Quartet is ps4.ca. And for the Vermeer Quartet, there's a little about the Vermeer and the recording of the 7 Last Words of Haydn at vermeerqt.com. Festivalofthesound.ca is where you can find out more about the Festival of the Sound, this festival now celebrating its 30th anniversary. My name's Keith Horner. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.